Good morning, PDHP parents. It's Carrie Ann Fitzgerald from the Program for the Development of Human Potential. I am the Parent Community Outreach Coordinator for the agency. And just a reminder, we work with the diocesan schools and academies in Brooklyn and Queens. We provide counselors, we provide support to administration and faculties, we provide parent workshops, which you're here for, hey. And we also provide family therapy in both boroughs, and mostly for a very reasonable cost, which is great in these times, okay? If you ever need any more information about PDHP, you know that you can message me here on Facebook anytime. And I check it every day, every weekday. And of course, we do have crisis lines that are attached in here in Facebook that you could always give a call if you require support. But of course, calling 911 if you are in an emergent situation, okay? So happy Friday. We all got through a fuller week, and we are doing our See You Later Alligator workshop. I was thinking about this morning. When we do our See You Later Alligators, we often do it anytime from May all the way through to even early December, okay? So never feel like when you're hearing some of these ideas that you kind of missed the boat. You don't have to have this perfect timing. You can work on these things now. Learning is a process, and it's not just when we think about learning, I think we often think about school. But we're learning as we're parenting. Our kids are learning from us about life, okay? So today we were talking about social skills that are needed in an early childhood school environment. And we talked about sharing, we talked about taking turns and listening and manners and things of that nature. One of the things that we want to talk about is separation anxiety. There's a lot of misconception around separation anxiety. And I want you to understand what it truly means, okay? Oftentimes, when kids are going through separation anxiety, it means that they are very bonded to their family, to their caregiver, to their parent. So it's difficult for them to separate. That is the reason, okay? So in some ways, that is such a relief that you've done such a great job in bonding this relationship with your child. But it is very difficult going into these new ventures. Now, let me just stop for a second and say to you, if my child just kind of up and goes right away into the school, into this new situation with, not even a blink of an eye, does that mean that we're not bonded? No. Okay. It's just people are different and they achieve that bond and they look at that bond and they look at new processes differently. Remember what we said about learning on Wednesday. We forget this. When we're learning something new, it feels very awkward, but we become aware of that skill or that thing that we need to learn, and then it becomes automatic. So let's think about separation anxiety, okay? Routine is very important. Routine is an extremely important part of early childhood. Routine in school, routine at home. Okay, so now let's think. This is a transition that kind of breaks the routine that our kids have known for so long. Okay, of being home, going to the babysitter, whatever it is. We have had a lot of transition in our routines just in this year. So often when we see separation problems, they're rooted in this fear of unknown, okay? Rather than the separation of a bond or a person, okay? So ensuring what to expect to the best of your ability, because we know that things are changing daily, but to ensure what to expect to the best of your child's ability is important. Explain, where they're going, even maybe on the weekend. See if you could take a ride by or a walk by the school so that they, familiarize themselves with, this is a place that's part of my routine. This is a place that's important. This is kind of, a second home in a way. Get familiar with that. Talk about the things that they are doing or will be doing. Oh, you'll probably do this, you'll probably do that, especially in this time of coronavirus. Talking about all those precautions takes away some of that worry. Think about who will be part of those routines. Who's dropping your children off? Who's picking your children up? Go through what ifs as well. Any kind of predictability can minimize anxiety for our children. So even talking about, well, if mommy's running late, if say mommy's supposed to pick them up, this is what will probably happen. Whatever the policy of the school is, the teacher will wait a little while, maybe take us into the office, give a call, so that way they can keep you safe. That's the goal until mommy can come, okay? Or maybe, the neighbor down the block is going to pick you up some days when mommy can't make it. So, those kind of ideas that, the children know what the plans are. Include them in that. Always, a lot of times when we talk about separation anxiety, people think, I'm just going to kind of exit. The parents usually exit from a situation. Maybe they want to go to work or they're going to the store and they kind of leave. That can be difficult for your children. So I suggest that making sure that you say goodbye, okay? Because that is an opportunity each time you say goodbye to let the child know this is the routine. Daddy says goodbye, and then daddy comes back, okay? It gives them that opportunity to understand what it's like to separate. So you can do this even on the weekend, after school, before school, whatever it is. It's confusing and upsetting for a child to find out all of a sudden that they may be engaged in play and then look around and say, oh my gosh, mommy and daddy are not there. I didn't know. Where are they? But a lot of times that's kind of a common practice that parents will do to minimize separation anxiety, but it creates more anxiety. So make sure that those goodbyes are definitely in place. Because eventually, if the child sees you leave and then sees you return, they realize that you're not leaving forever. You'll be back. It's temporary. They start to understand that. It is a sensitive period developmentally for them. So some kids do have these difficulties at first, and it's really hard. And, a lot of times the separation is going on as you're on a time refrain, trying to get to work, trying to get them to school. There's a whole bunch of other parents usually trying to get in with their kids as well. And it becomes really frustrating and it becomes really public, and it's hard. But remember, everyone has gone through it at some point, and you'll find a lot of kindness in that, okay? Do what you feel is best. Stay calm, address your child. When you're seeing that your kids are having these extreme difficulties, one of the things you can do is talk with the teacher on the best way to minimize this. And they'll share a routine that maybe they've used before, because they have seen it all. Let me tell you, they have seen it all and they have great ideas. And it is a process, okay? So it may take a little while, but they'll help you put some things in place. A lot of times there are practice sessions. There are times that parents can come in now. In times of COVID, that's a little difficult, but maybe there are different sessions that you can use to speak to the teacher or pop in or that kind of thing. Bringing your child to school. So again, like I said, going over on the weekend and talking about it. It's also a great idea to tell your kids about your experiences at school, keeping it positive. What are the things that you remember and that you like? This reassures, this calms a child very considerably when it becomes normal, becomes this is every day, this is a routine. A lot of times with parents, we blame ourselves. We feel guilty. We feel like it's a failure, and that's very common. There's so much shame in parenting. But remember what that experience is. Your child feels very secure with you, so they don't want to leave you, okay? Remember that you have done your job in bonding your relationship with your child, and that's wonderful. A lot of times when you have a child who's so bonded at home, even though they go through maybe these extremes, you'll see that eventually, given that time, given that experience, they tend to become independent much more quickly, okay? So be at ease knowing that you've done a good job in bonding with your child. Let's talk on Monday a little bit more about creating a positive perception of school, because we know that this is a factor of risk when there is a negative climate that's experienced, and it is something we work against. So let's, talk about that on Monday. I hope you have a great weekend. It's Friday. I hear there's a lot of apple picking experiences going on. They're, of course, very, socially distanced and things like that. So maybe take advantage of that. Take advantage of the cooler weather. I hope you have something fun planned for your family or something relaxing planned with your family for this weekend. And I'll see you Monday.